So today, we are going to talk about the concept of getting to yes with the context of getting that listing agreement signed. But as we go through these 8 steps, plug it into your life, because this is humans. So anytime you're dealing with a human, whether it's a 3-year-old little boy or girl, or it's a 39-year-old little boy or girl that you're married to, or 40 or whatever it is, or it's a client that's sitting there that's dealing with the biggest transaction maybe of their life, and they're just scared. They don't want to get tricked. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to miss out. Here's the secret to all value: participation. And what you're going to learn is not only your participation creates value for you, but when you can get your clients to participate, it creates value for them. And unfortunately, it's not your skills that brings them the most value. It's them participating. And then especially when things start to go sideways, especially when there's resistance, when they start to doubt that you're up for them, especially when there's a problem, when things go sideways, what you promised isn't happening. And during those times, we tend to limit their participation. Like, we want to solve it and then go tell them about it, that it's solved. But if we can get them to participating through the whole process, even in problems, they might get upset at the end or during the process, but in the end, they're going to have much more value because they were a part of it. It's almost like you went through battle together. Through every step they knew, and that's why communication is the #1 problem or the #1 complaint with agents or loan people. I didn't know what was going on. It's way worse than the actual problem. So let's look at this. Here's 8 steps to get to yes. 8 steps, 8 tools. #1, have them say what they want. So that's the first step here, and the tool here is interest. The tool here is interest. So in each of these, I want to give you what the step is, and then the tool, this is what you're going to use to make the tool work. So it's such a key tool of interest, because most of us will think that in order for people to be interested in us, we got to be interesting. I got to be interesting. I got to be amazing. I gotta have all the answers. I gotta have this great track record. Hey, oh my gosh, I just sold $500 million just yesterday. So now you can sign this listing and be comfortable with being with me. But that's not the case. Using questions. Now, if you are truly curious about anybody, you're automatically going to start asking questions. It's just the natural thing that happens. So be interested. Be more interested. How can I get more interested is a great question to ask yourself. You're asking questions because you're really curious. And if someone is genuinely curious, people will tend to talk to them. What are those professions that people spill their guts to that aren't therapists? Hairdressers. My sister's, bartenders.
Right.
I was, that's right. But my sister,
No idea.
that's right. My sister, she does hair, and she's like, someone told me like the most horrible things today. I don't want to know about their affairs. I don't want to know about this divorce. I don't, and they're just a listening ear. And the thing that they get people to spill their guts is they go, oh, wow, right. And if you want people to think that you are amazing, stop saying so many words and start saying some more, oh, tell me more. Okay. Now, you want to get clear on what it takes to sell their property, but you can get you through your whole listing presentation in like 20 minutes.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't take a long time for them to get clear. But if you know what's really going on with them and what the real motivation is, which is step #2, it's going to go way further. So #2 is go to at least 1 layer deeper. And the tool here is values. What is the main value? What's the main value that they have? What are they going to get out of selling their house? Let's say it's a listing. What's the main value? And here's the most important question that I think you can ever ask about anything significant. And the question is, what's important about that? So what's important about that? And this is what I call the 7-layer value exercise, 7-layer value. And if you can do this with your clients, it does a number of things for your people. One, it'll let you know who's willing to work with you, because some people are not willing to work with you. What can I get you? Step #1, I want to sell my house, retard. Why do you think I'm here? Okay, instantly they're just angry at the world or whatever it is. You go to step number 2. Well, what's important about that? Well, what do you think? I want to sell the house so I can get some money so I can do what I want. Are you going to be my guy? Or are you going to be my woman? Or what are you going to give me? Can you do it for 1%? Like instantly start to grind on you. So are they willing to work with you here? What's important about that? Amazing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when you start on that lower level, you drilled all the way down to like the deepest levels. What's going to happen? And I know this might seem outlandish, but you know them better than they knew themselves before. They have actually achieved a deeper understanding of why they're even wanting to do what they're doing. And a lot of times they've shared with you, if they're willing to do this. Now this is scary. A lot of people weren't willing to go 7 layers down. I'm just asking you to do 1 because it's going to set you apart. But if you're willing to go 7 layers down, they've shared with you their deepest fears. They've shared with you their deepest desires of what they really want and what they're hoping to possibly get from selling or buying a house through you. Now, why doesn't someone usually want to tell you what they really want or what their biggest fears are? Why wouldn't someone share that with someone that they're hiring? It's personal. That's right. And if I share something personal with someone that I don't trust, what can happen? Used against me. Absolutely. I can get hurt. And in the end, we're trying to protect ourselves. Now, this is human psychology. This is human behavior, and it's automatic. We don't think about these things. I'm not going through this. I'm just saying, I'm not telling you nothing. I just want you to do your job. And if you're not willing to do that, maybe I'll go somewhere else and get the resistance to come up. I did this exercise with someone in a very similar setting right here, and I said, well, what's important to you about coming to this workshop? And the guy volunteered. He's like, I want to do it. And he said, okay. He said, well, I want to learn how to network. I said, well, great. What's important to you about networking? He's like, well, if I learn how to network, I'll be able to, I think, make some better contacts. I'm like, okay, great. I'm learning a lot about you. I appreciate you sharing. So if you make a lot of contacts, what's important to you about that? I say, well, I can probably get some more contacts that are going to lead to more deals. Well, if I get some more deals, if you get more deals, what's important to you about that? Well, I'll be able to make some more money. Okay, well, if you make some more money, what's important to you about that? Well, I'll be able to take care of my son. What's important to you about taking care of your son? Well, right now, I just feel like I'm not doing what I should be doing. And man, my son, he means the world to me, and I want to be a better dad. Whoa. Now, do you think being a better dad is more motivating for this guy than getting another deal? Oh, infinitely more. Infinitely. Who cares about the other deal? Who cares about selling a house or buying a house? Seriously, who cares? What they're doing that stuff for is to get to these desires that are down here at the bottom. And the way that you get there is you ask a question. What's important about that? And the better you are about asking that question and to actually being interested and giving them a context of why they would even want to work with you and tell you those answers, the more likely that they're going to be with you and you're going to be able to get them past those milestones that are for sure going to come on. They're going to come. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Well, you know what? There are lots of options for you right now, but I know that selling the house right now is going to help you to provide for your son the way that you said you wanted to do it. Now, if you're still up for that, that's what I want. Are you up for that? And then you remind them based on what they told you. Does that make sense? Now, here's another tip on this particular step. Use their words. Use their words. There's psychological triggers. It's called anchoring. That are these words and different things that different smells especially are huge anchors for us, but you can't really recreate those very well. But you can use words, and what you want to do is remember their words exactly. So instead of, I want to be able to take care of my son, and you say, you want to be financially free so that you can set up a trust and your son's going to be independent. It's like, that's not what he said. You're like, no, it means the same thing. No, it doesn't actually. You got to use the same exact words. Now, you don't have to, but I'm telling you, if you use their words, there's something about those words that are already connected to these feelings that are going to lead them to want to move forward, to keep taking those steps. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's not. And when it stops getting easy, you can use these tools. So that's step number 2. Step number 3. After you know what they want, after you've figured out what they really want and what they're really scared about, well, now at this point, you're going to lead with the vision. Now we're stepping up to getting them to do what you need them to do in order to get them what they said they want. So notice, you're going to get them to do what they need to do for them to get what they said that they wanted, what they really wanted. Not, you're going to ask them what they want to do. That's not you're the expert. And you need to set it up to where you are now going to start moving into a domain where you're going to be telling them or asking them very directly the next step that you need for them to do. And it could be signing that listing agreement, the buyer-broker agreement, and that could be it. But what is that? They decide what they want to do or what they want. You decide how to get them there. So number 3, into that place, because there could be a lot of resistance when you start to tell people what to do. If you do it right, it's beautiful. If you do it wrong, they're going to fight you. So the way to do it right is you lead with the vision. The tool here is actually vision. Where do all bad feelings come from? Have you ever thought about every bad feeling? Like we're talking about a buyer or someone who wants to list their property. They have bad feelings. They get scared. All those bad feelings. It's not going to work. I don't want to go with you. I don't want to tie myself to you with this agreement and then miss out on some other opportunity. Those kind of things. Where do bad feelings come from? Experience, fear. What'd you say? Fear? Yeah, they're past experience. Absolutely. And then they're bringing it forward. That's true. That's absolutely true. And I'm going to broaden it a little bit even more and say that bad feelings come from focusing on what you don't want. All bad feelings. That's generally where this feeling of badness comes from. You're thinking about what you don't want. Now, the interesting thing about that is what you don't want is different from what I don't want. So on the converse side, where do all good feelings come from? Yeah, simple enough. You're thinking about what you do want. So notice here, as I'm going through this model, I'm doing some investigation, and I'm figuring out what they want and what they don't want. Because it's very likely that what they want and what they don't want is not at all what you would have thought that they wanted and didn't want. And not only that, I'm figuring out the words they're using to communicate that I realize what they want and what they don't want. And then I'm peppering my language with those things. And you can do it, we can get like really deep into NLP and how to structure statements and how to direct eye movement but I'm just saying, hey, just get curious and remember as best as you can and use them, because you need to keep them focusing on what they want. And the way to do that, the best way that I have, is you just start with the vision. It's like, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm so excited to be able to set you up so that you can be able to take great care of your son. I know that you love him, and this is a great plan. Yes. And get a yes. There's something really powerful about getting them to respond. Remember, participation equals value. So what I hear you saying is that right? And get them to say yes. That's good. Thank you, Joe. And then you can go into it. Now, this works really well at home, too. I just recently with Carolyn, I was late to a dinner, and I'm working all day long, right? It's like 12-hour days. I'm building the family. I'm going to take care of us for the rest of our lives. We will have grandchildren that'll take over the world. It's like that kind of thing. And then, and I'm thinking, I'm 10 minutes late, sure, but it's not that big a deal because I'm building our entire heritage here, Take an extra 10 minutes. And I get there, and she's upset with me because her perspective is, hey, I've been waiting for all day. I've gotten ready for an hour and a half to be ready at 6, and you're 10 minutes late when you could have been here on time. Yes. So there could be a fight that happens right away. And so at that moment, I can literally come at and argue about it, or I could lead with the vision. Now, babe, you look great. I love you.